Good morning. Welcome to Arbory Digital Update from the Forest. I'm Tad Reeves, Principal Architect for Arbory Digital, and today I'm going to talk to you about Adobe Managed CDN, experimental redirects, and how that enables fancy new and really actually exciting new architectures for going to the cloud. So I'm in the woods. I'm on my way to the Durham Mountain Bike Park. Durham used to be an active coal mine 70 years ago, and now it's this forest that you see here. As an example of the infrastructure can solve anything viewpoint, they found a coal seam up here. They're like, wow, this could be huge. And then after we're all done, this could be a tourist destination. So they made a narrow gauge railway past a waterfall, absolutely beautiful, stunning. And they're like, yeah, when this is all good, when we're funded, we're gonna build a fancy hotel and so forth. Only problem was that after running for a few decades, the coal seam ended up running out before they could fund any of their lofty plans, and it was all abandoned. And now it's back to being forest. All this was bustling with activity and a denuded strip mine. So yeah, infrastructure doesn't always solve anything, but what it can possibly solve right now is cloud migration. So orienting to AEM as a cloud service. Now, I'm going to try to do this little talk with a diagram in my mind, and then I just got a fancy new computer for running Premiere Pro. I'll see if I can splice together this diagram that I have in my mind in post. But here we go. So when AEM as a cloud service first launched, it had a CDN component, which is Fastly. Fastly was essentially only Adobe configured. There's no way to really press user configurations onto it. The only way to control its behavior was with dispatcher configurations to give you cache control headers and so forth. But aside from that, it was basically all Adobe, which made it a little bit difficult to move to the cloud sometimes, because you had to basically be all in on AEM as a cloud service. And if you wanted some other behavior, like let's say you have some on-premise gear, you have other websites that share the same domain, you're doing commerce stuff, whatever, you'd basically have to bring your whole own CDN on top of that and then configure it and so forth. So basically an unwieldy bunch of third parties that you'd have to solution design into this whole thing. What you can do is just a lot more moving parts. And because it's custom, presents a bunch more risk to the customer. So now there's a couple new features. These are things that either are in general availability now or are still in the experimental stages, but you can get access to them if you talk to Adobe, ask nicely, and are willing to deal with a little bit of developmental wrinkles along the way while stuff's getting sorted out. So these two features, the Managed CDN and experimental redirects, what this allows you to do now is, it's got a bunch of features. One is self-service SSL management. So you can provision SSL certificates without having to go off and acquire them first from your own CA or generate your own Let's Encrypt stuff. It handles all that in the back end, so you don't need to go through the whole management headache of all that. Self-service domain management. And then a brand new configuration pipeline, which allows you to roll out new CDN configurations to dev stage and prod, which this is done all in Cloud Manager, so you don't have to have your own infrastructure and DevOps folks provisioning their own CI/CD solution, which is a really big deal because DevOps folks aren't cheap. Ask me how I know. So once you've got all that, there's a number of features that they've been adding to those managed CDN configurations. And one of them is the ability to add environment variables. You can add new backends. So if you have, let's just say you've got, okay, let's just posit a crazy config that it's not really that crazy. Lots of people need to be able to do it. Say you've got your new site. You're all concerned about your Lighthouse score, so your .com is going to be on AEM Edge Delivery. Let's say you still have some backend stuff that you're not willing to migrate off of. You've got a perpetual license for AEM 6.5 that you're going to keep. And so you go, okay, what about that? Let's just keep our backend stuff running, maybe on AWS, maybe on premise, wherever that's going to go. Let's say you've got 3 different Edge Delivery sites that are running, but all of them use your AEM as a cloud service DAM. So how are you going to do that? You need to be able to have configurable backends that say, if it's got this path, send it to Edge Delivery. If it's got this path, send it to cloud service. If it's got this path, then send it on premise. Another one of the features of this is an experimental redirects feature. So let's say you change your document schema in your AEM site. Used to be whatever. Let's say it used to be one way. You used to use a hyphen, now use a dash. You used to be all language, and now you're doing locale. It used to be all whatever it was. Well, let's say you're moving pieces around. You need redirects to be able to go in there, and ideally at the CDN level before it hits Edge Delivery. That's something that is now supported inside your Cloud Manager pipeline with dev, stage, and prod environments to roll it out. So woo! Sorry about that. So with that though, a lot of the reason why people didn't like AEM as a cloud service before, or were hesitant to go to the cloud service before, is because there were maybe some things that they were trying to take advantage of, new features that they were trying to take advantage of that are only available on the cloud service, and other features that they're like, I really like what we're doing on premise better. I don't want to get shoehorned into one environment. How do we solve this? Or let's say, take assets as an example. AEM Assets is a great product. However, how do you share assets that are on one domain amongst multiple separate backends? Like, what are you going to do? So this whole thing enables a really flexible set of configurations that you can go and attack. So this would all be an interesting thought exercise if we were talking about something theoretical or something that was going to get launched sometime. But I've got one of these sites that is in development right now for a customer. We've already rolled out this whole infrastructure. It totally works. And I don't think I've been this excited about infrastructure in quite some time, because I don't know about, for any of you stodgy, I guess I'm calling myself stodgy, for any of you folks who have built a lot of stuff on premise, a lot of times somebody forcing you to go to the cloud, or forcing you to go to somebody's supposedly magic bullet infrastructure, it gets met with some resistance sometimes. It's like, so you're gonna force me to accept all of this when I only want some of it. This whole CDN configuration enables you to basically break off the pieces of your infrastructure as they make sense. And to be able to say, okay, this part should be AEM Cloud Service, totally works, and that's the right tool for the job. These 5 other sites, they should be Edge Delivery. That totally makes sense. Let's make that happen. And then the rest of it, assets, on-premise gear, commerce, etc. And then the rest of it, assets, commerce gear, etc., whatever, they can go on all of their own clouds. And you can control all that centrally by one thing that you don't have to farm out and don't have to provision separate infrastructure for. And it's part of a really well-controlled dev stage prod pipeline. And it's supported by Adobe. So that's what I got today. It's downhill in time for me right now, so probably not a good idea to do a podcast while I'm trying not to die. Talk to you next time.